All right, hello and welcome to What Was Short with LOWLIVES. But what is this? Well, my name's John Williams. I'm the owner and operator of an independent radio station that goes 24/7 via whatwasthatradio.com called What Was That? It's a podcast that splits in two, a conversation with, and these chats can go for up to an hour, 3, 4 in some cases. Then there's What Was Short, where one of my best friends and podcast editor, Mike Battle, I'm speaking fast because we've got a flipped time limit to stick to here, okay? We're all said and done in 10 minutes. It's one of his favourite nuggets of those conversations that I hope in turn inspires you to dive into these creators that have brought me so much joy and intrigue. Simple as that. If you want to discover true modern rock, go to whatwasthatradio.com. I'm talking over 5,000 bands that have released songs since 2020. We don't go anything older than 2017. Here is an excerpt of speaking with Lee and Luke of LOWLIVES, and in particular, Luke addressing the heads and tails of the music industry, the positive side, the negative side, and the ego that always lies in the middle of it. But which way will it go? Thanks for being here. This is not your first foray, for the four of you, this is not your first merry-go-round at this fickle life called the music industry.
Yeah.
Looking back, how do you feel about that year? Because if you're just waiting, that's extremely difficult on one's psyche to just keep making.
Yeah, it pretty much was. Yeah, it was not the greatest year. We were just, how it is, music industry relationships and stuff like that, and some just weren't good, I guess. And then we only had. I mean, what did we do? We did Back to the Beach Festival in. Who was that with? It was like the Used and everyone, wasn't it? That was in Huntington Beach.
Yeah, it was like Blink, and it was a wicked show. Basically what it was just like we were on pause, and we didn't really have like an agent at that time. Like we'd kind of parted company with an agent, and it just all these things. Like I feel like a lot of the stories of music business is everything breaks up and in this like ferocity and everyone hates each other. It was never like that, you know what I mean? With any of these folks, we tried something, it didn't work. Because I mean, ultimately, like this band kind of dropped its first music in like 2017, end of 2017. So 2018, we'd already landed a tour. We'd already kind of teamed up with a manager and got a booking agent. And I was like, none of this was expected. We were expecting to just be like slogging local gigs and stuff. So like the fact that kind of like some things came together that quick were like shocking, And so, we all tried our hardest for sort of like, 12 months to keep things on that trajectory, but, they kind of didn't go on that trajectory. And so, we just kind of moved on, but that kind of left us in that position in 2019, where it was kind of like, we were just fending for ourselves, trying to figure stuff out. And ultimately, like Lee said, we played like 2 or 3 shows. I think we played one at the Roxy, which was very difficult. No, it wasn't the Roxy. It was the Viper Room, which I kind of swore off ever doing those kind of shows down that end of Sunset. Like it's just not my scene. But I like to go drinking down there, but I don't really want to play down there. There's a lot of that kind of pay to play vibe and like, yeah, man, rocking West Sunset Boulevard type vibe, and I think like you go there and you get treated a certain way. And that certainly happened to us at a couple of shows that just happened to get landed down that end of the street. And, we played these shows and, even in some cases had folks telling us that like we weren't allowed to get free water until we played the show. And I was just kind of like, this is not how I envisioned.
To get what? Sorry? Water?
Water,
yes. Like at one of the shows, I won't name the venue, but one of the shows, like I wouldn't say I'm an aggro person. Maybe I am. I don't know. But one of the shows, I was literally like, my teeth wanted to fall out my head because I was gritting that hard. I'd gone up beforehand because I usually do all the kind of TM stuff like for the band. And so I'd gone to get some stage waters and some like, hand towels at least for stage. And the dude said like, yeah, man, you can get waters when it's your time. And I was like, what are you talking about, man? My time. I was like, I just need to get waters for stage. We're like, there's going to be no sound check. We're throwing the gear up. I just need to get prepared. And he's like, yeah, you can have them when it's your time. I was just like, I'm going to lose my shit. You know what I mean? And ultimately what it was like this dude, probably sees a lot of like serious name bands go through there, but also probably a lot of small bands. And it just felt like this whole vibe of trying to get big dicked. And I was like, I've done a lot of stuff. Lee's done a lot. Everybody in our band's done a lot of stuff, you know. But we're also not the kind of people that are going to be like, man, just give me some water. I've played in bigger venues than this or anything like that. That's just not our vibe. But I just remember being mad and being like, I'm going to lose my shit on this guy. And then we're probably not going to play a show because I'm going to end up getting into a situation. And so I had to go back and like chill for a minute. And I remember telling the dudes and they were like, what? They wouldn't give you water? You know, and it's definitely not the kind of venue you want to drink water out of the bathroom tap, that's for sure. But yeah, so, I mean, we just, you'll deal with people like that every now and then. You'll deal with situations like that. And I think that how you kind of, how you kind of progress through those situations is kind of, potentially how you're, how the future of your band's going to be, you know what I mean? Like a lot of people will kind of act a certain way in those situations, and it's kind of like, as frustrating as it is, you're going to meet people like that all the time. It's not over. We're going to meet more people like that. And that's just kind of how it is, man. It's a part of the course. We're also going to meet tons of people that go insanely above and beyond. You know, we played a tour in the UK, and we were playing with another band, and basically the tour got cancelled before the first show. And so this was our first ever tour, and we were halfway to Sweden. And, the band is basically funded out of our own pockets. So we'd got like non-refundable tickets. We paid cash for our transportation in the UK. And, we're halfway to Sweden. And, the tour got cancelled for a good reason. You know what I mean? And so we were like, what do we do? Like, how do we even get back to England? You know what I mean? We have no fees, and so we kind of sat in a gas station on the side of the road for a minute and just got our stuff together. And we were like, well, we'd only played 3 shows as a band at that point. And I remember we said we can either eat this whole thing and then spring for more money to buy return tickets and go home, or we can just go stay with one of our friends in London, forge on, get back there, and then figure out like networking with all of our friends that we know from the music business and just see if we could put together some kind of rookie DIY tour, something just like last minute, right? And that's what we did. We stayed with our real good friend Joel Stanley and called everyone we knew, Facebook groups, emails, phone calls, text messages, you name it, right? And some really good friends, a former agent friend of mine that not a former friend, but he used to book my old band. He came through with a string of shows for us, and then random DIY promoters booking us. And so, to my point, we got a show at Bannerman's in Edinburgh, and that crew up there were amazing, right? And we went up there, and they put us on at, like, we've never even played a show in the UK, right? We played 3 shows in the US. We have 1 song out.
Yeah, we had one song out.
Yeah, nobody knows who the band is, and they took a punt on us, right? And so we went up there, and I think we played to like 6 people. And if I recall, there was no support bands that could play it on short notice, but there was a guy in the front bar in the daytime who was singing cover songs with an acoustic guitar. And I went up to him and was like, mate, do you want to play a show in there for a pizza? And he was like, fuck yeah. So he played his show in the bar. And then later that night jumped into the room and kind of opened the stage to the, like, how many people was at that show, Lee? Was it above 10 or under 10?
It was just slightly above 10, I would say.
Yeah. So like 10, 15 people, this dude's playing for a pizza. And, because we didn't have any money to pay him, but I also didn't want to insult his talents by saying, like, just come play a free show. So we give him a pizza and bought him a couple beers. But the venue, the guy was like, hey, man, we've got somewhere for you to stay upstairs. And he was also like, I want to give you guys an extra £100 because I know you've had it rough. And I'm like, this guy just lost his ass on us, because there's no way. Like, I think the fee was like maybe £100. I think that was the minimum that we could afford to go to be able to pay for, like, recoup the cost of the van and all the things we'd outlaid, right? And so, like, he gave us £200, and he was just kind of like, I know you guys old bands, and I just want to help you out. And I'm like, so equally as these people that won't even give you water and give you attitude when you go play a show, on the complete flip side, you're going to get these people that will lose their ass over you just because they care about music and they care about the scene and there's values, you know what I mean? And so, you're going to get both. And so obviously we all enjoy meeting the people that are rad and do that kind of put themselves out, you know what I mean, and kind of DIY and toe the line. But you know, it's going to be peppered along the way with some dicks.
So that was What Was Short. I really appreciate your time. If you'd like to find out more about Low Lives, please do go to whatwasthatradio.com/podcast. You can dive into the entire chat there, or you can just go straight to their website, bypass that, and dive into the music. If it's not linked in the description below, I have let you down. Thank you so much for your time being here. It's a very dramatic intro and extra. Maybe I should record them all this late at night. It's more mysterious, so dark. Hello? Whatever you're doing the rest of your day, and as always, please look after yourself. And hope there's some fun and smiles involved in the rest of it too, because we've got to cherish that positive. I really flipping appreciate your time. Thank you. Cheerio.